Chair, I've got the ability, if you wish to bring anything up on the screen. That's a screen for members. We don't necessarily have to show it on the live feed if you don't want to, but I can share my screen at any point to put up the agenda or any of the paperwork if you want to refer to it. But so if you just ask at any point, I will just do it for you.
Right, thanks, Nikki. Yeah, so again, I don't think it's out today because today is going to be like it's the first of the new year. 1 or 2 new members.
And I'll allocate tech support to call you straight back and get you back online. If at any point the live feed goes down, I will have to very gently just excuse you from the meeting and just apologise to you
Good afternoon and welcome, councillors, to this meeting of the Growth Scrutiny Committee. This is a public meeting being streamed live to YouTube and via the council's website. I have been advised that the live stream is now up and running. If for any reason that the public can no longer hear or see the meeting over the live stream, we will adjourn until the connection has been re-established. I will ask the governance manager to confirm who is in attendance and to explain the procedure for this meeting. I should have to turn the microphone on as well, Nicola.
Apologies, Chair. Could you just hold the line just one moment? I'm just going to check on a technical issue.
Okay.
Apologies for that, Chair. I have confirmation that we actually live streaming. We had a confusion there whether it was actually working properly. So thank you, Chair. Just to advise members that microphones should remain muted at all times during the meeting, unless, of course, if you've been called on to speak by the Chair. This is to minimise the background noise. Members can leave their cameras on during the meeting if they feel that in doing so it enhances the debate. If any member speak on an item during the debate, please indicate this by unmuting your microphone and raising a hand. You may also use the chat function and type speak. The Chair will then call on you to speak as appropriate. Voting will be done so by acclamation. Show of hands will indicate that the committee is in agreement. If at any time you're disconnected from the meeting, please try to rejoin as quickly as possible. If you have any technical difficulties, please contact one of the meeting facilitators as indicated on the meeting access details. If you are about to speak, the meeting will wait a few moments for you to rejoin. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Nicola. Okay, moving on. Apologies for absence. Can the governance manager please advise if there have been any apologies for absence?
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Pat Ancliffe has sent apologies for this meeting.
Right, thank you very much. Are there any more apologies councillors wish to submit apologies on behalf of an absent member? Please turn your microphones on. Anybody got any apologies for anybody else? No? Right, thank you, that's been noted. If any members do have any interest to declare, can you please turn your cameras on now? Your microphones on now. No interest, right, thank you for that. Item 3, minutes of last meeting. Can we agree that the minutes of the last meeting were a true and accurate record? Does everybody agree they were a true and accurate record? Right, excellent, thank you for that. Right, item 4, remit of the committee. Can I please introduce Sue Veerman to the meeting, please?
Thank you, Chair. I'm Sue Veerman. I'm the Overview and Scrutiny Manager to this committee. I just wanted to provide the new committee with a quick reminder of the key points of what scrutiny is and what it can do. In your pack, you will see that you have a terms of reference sheet that provides details of what is within the committee's remit. It also shows what the other committee remits are. As I'm sure members who've been on this committee for a while will know that sometimes items can cut across 2 committees and the chairs then need to come to a decision whether they will undertake that work. One example of this is housing. where housing management sits within the Community Scrutiny Committee, but housing strategy sits within this committee. Additionally, if you have an item you wish to raise which is not in your committee's remit, you can raise this with the relevant chair of the committee in which it sits, so they can consider whether they wish to take that into their committee. And if you wish to do that with any item, I can facilitate that at the time. So, some key points of scrutiny. Scrutiny is a mechanism for backbench councillors to monitor council performance. There's a number of ways you can do this, including you can use performance information, you can monitor action plans from various places, and you can be alert to service performance on the ground, where perhaps the service is not performing as you'd like it, or there's been an issue that's been brought to your attention. You can also examine cabinet proposals and decisions. For each meeting, you will see on the agenda that you already have a full plan of executive decisions. And we look at this every time to allow the committee to oversee these decisions, and you can raise issues or request further information about subjects on there. Another method you can use is that you can contribute to policy making and review. You can do this by being involved as a consultee, and that should happen automatically as a scrutiny committee. You should be consulted on anything that comes within your remit. Or you can monitor how well policy is working. And if you have something that you wish to take forward, you can make recommendations for improvement to the Cabinet. You can also review issues of concern, say something from residents on behalf of the communities. However, scrutiny cannot make decisions or policies. It does, however, have the power of influence. It can make informed recommendations to Cabinet supported by the evidence, which is gathered from a mix of stakeholders, including officers, partners and the public. For members who've been on this committee for a while, you'll know how it operates, but for the new members, it has two main aspects usually. The first one is that you usually decide on an annual work programme. On the agenda at item 6, you will have a chance to decide what items you would like to look at during the year. Items tend to be the things that are contained in one meeting and are mainly chosen because they support and add value to the priorities of the Council and help improve the services it delivers. The committee also has a role in listening to concerns raised by elected members and the public. I need to just say really the work programme is not a set document, it's a work in progress, and it needs to have a mix of activity with room to spare. So if any emerging issues come up or any urgent items that the committee is asked to consider, you can respond to them and fit it into your work programme. When thinking about your work programme, it's important to consider what you can influence and what value your choices will add. The second area of work that the committee usually undertakes is the selection of a topic for a scrutiny review. This is normally done, in most cases, by an in-depth review that lasts for the entire municipal period as the committee's meeting, because it's a significant piece of work. However, alternatively, you can also use the spotlight review method to do very quick reviews, but these are generally for more straightforward topics that need a quick response because they're quite intensive. However, given the situation we're in at the moment with the pandemic, that may be an option that you may wish to consider as an appropriate way to do review work. At item 5 on the agenda, the Chair will invite you to discuss and put forward any possible topics for consideration for your review topic. I did actually send out a form with the agenda for members to put down any items that they might be interested in, and also had a couple from officers, so we can talk about that when we reach that part on the agenda. And then just for information, Chair, if I could just run through the key stages of an in-depth review. So a topic is selected after discussion by the committee and the proposer of why the review should be undertaken and what outcome you hope to achieve. The review is then scoped informally by the Chair and Vice Chair, the lead officer for the service that is connected to the review, the Overview and Scrutiny Manager, and if appropriate, the person that has proposed the review that has been selected. Following this informal meeting, a timetable and project plan, which is essentially your scoping document, is prepared and will be brought back to the committee so that the committee can then further discuss and reach agreement that it's what you're hoping to look at. The evidence gathering then begins through interviews with stakeholders, possible site visits, review of documentation like policies, action plans and performance information. But in fact, it can be anything that the committee thinks is relevant to the issue that they're looking at. At the end of the year, you analyse all that you have heard and formulate recommendations to be included in the scrutiny report. This is then submitted to Cabinet for consideration. If Cabinet accepts the recommendations, a lead officer prepares an action plan on behalf of Cabinet, which the committee will then monitor through the year to ensure that the recommendations are implemented. And that's really all I have to say, Chair. But just to conclude, if the committee have any questions on that briefing or anything else to do with scrutiny, I'll be happy to take them.
Thanks, Sue. That looks like there's no questions there. Everybody seems quite happy with that. Right, we just move on to thanks again, Sue. Item 5. First of all, I forgot to sort of mention we've got a couple of new members from last year, and I don't know whether we've lost anybody. Do you think, for the point of view, Sue, of the public, we just go around everybody and just introduce everybody? Sue, is it worth?
Yes, Chair, that would be useful.
Would it be useful? Okay. I mean, because we're all looking at each other in a different order on the screen, shall I just call the names out and you just say who you are? Would you mind doing that? So, Susie. Are you there, Susie? Would you mind just introducing yourself? You take your microphone off.
Hi, my name's Susie. I'm councillor for Heath and Homewood. Do apologise for that.
Thanks, Susie. Richard Watson. Richard, would you? Thank you.
Councillor for Gosforth Valley, Dronfield.
Thank you. Councillor John Fennell.
Hi, I'm John Fennell. I'm councillor for Pilsley, Morton and Stretton.
Thank you. Councillor Michelle Emmons.
Hello, I'm Councillor Emmons for Gosforth Valley in Dronfield.
Thank you. Councillor Nigel Barker.
Good morning. Oh, good afternoon, even. Where am I? I'm Councillor Nigel Barker. I'm the councillor for North Wingfield and leader of the Labour group. Thank you.
Thanks, Nigel. Nick.
Good afternoon. I'm Councillor Nick Whitehead for Killermarsh. This is my second year on the Scrutiny Committee, Growth Scrutiny Committee. I'm looking forward to getting stuck into some of the areas that clearly are going to need some support as we come out of this virus situation.
Come on, thank you for that. Lee?
Yeah, Councillor Sean from Grassmore and Winsick.
And Pat, thank you for joining us.
Sorry, I was can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you, to be honest, but I can hear you. And now I can't. Could you turn your microphone off?
Can't.
Just to introduce yourself, Pat, please.
Pat Ancliffe, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine. I just can't see you.
Right, Pat Ancliffe, represent Wingworth Council. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. And I'm Councillor Anthony Hutchinson. I represent Dronfield, Colaston, Dronfield. Right, this section, I think we should be discussing what we're going to look at. I think some of it's going to be quite self-selecting because of the situation we're in. I'm keen. We had like a year last year with a lot of new members, and we didn't choose a review. And I'm keen that we are more proactive this year, and we choose review. And I'd like to invite anybody to suggest any reviews or any part of the council's work you'd like to look at. Anybody? Councillor Whitehead.
Hello. Yeah, thanks, Anthony. I'm not sure whether this should be a spotlight review or perhaps a main review, but I noticed in 2018-19, looking at the summary of what the committee did, it included the homelessness part of the council. And I've been reading through that. It contained 9 recommendations, and I'd be interested to know if we've made progress on those recommendations and where they ended up. But furthermore, going into this year, as we've seen from our meetings, that the correspondence coming from the leader, in that the homelessness are obviously had a big change in what's happened to their environment, and this is our moment in time where we can really grasp this, and I hope as a council we do. So I would like to ensure that this committee, does review that element of what the council's doing. I take personal interest in it. I've got some knowledge and background with it, so it's a personal interest of mine. Whether it warrants a full review or a spotlight, obviously that's for discussion.
Right, thanks, Nick. Thanks for that. Sue, I noticed your mic's open. You wanted to say some things. I can't see you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite shocked to hear that would be our remit. It's really part of something that we can discuss. I thought that would be the community's remit, not growth.
Sue Veerman, would that be something that would be good to communities rather than ours?
Thank you, Chair. I was just going to come in on that point, Chair. It was a review that was undertaken by the Communities Committee. It is still live. Director was due to come back and report progress on that review, because it has been quite a bit of progress made. But unfortunately, with the pandemic and that last meeting of the Communities Committee being cancelled, it didn't come to that, but it will be certainly coming back in the new work programme. But it is actually out of the remit of this committee.
Yeah, sorry, my mistake. Yeah.
However, Chair, can I also just say, in the past, the committees have been very cooperative, and if a member has a particular interest in a subject matter, with agreement to the chair of the appropriate committee, often they'll allow you to sit in and obviously listen to the debates on that issue.
Right, thank you, Sue.
I would be very interested in being invited to those conversations as well, if that's possible.
Okay, right, thank you for that. Anybody else got any suggestions here? Surely, John.
Yeah, Anthony, we spent most of last year waiting for the growth strategy to come out of the district council, and various circumstances reasoning, we never actually got a growth strategy that we could look at. So we was waiting a little bit for that to come out. But I do know now that the district have appointed a new director for growth. There will be a different game plan now, I guess, with COVID coming up. Can we invite the new director to come along to our meeting to explain what the growth strategy is for the future?
I think that's something we could do, isn't it, Sue? Sue Veerman?
It is, Chair, and I noticed that Jill Callingham is actually on the screen with us, so I don't know whether she can actually hear the meeting.
Hi, Jill. Can you hear the meeting? Are you with us?
I am. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, so it's my first meeting. Hello, everybody. Yes, I'm happy to bring the growth strategy. It went to informal cabinet the other week, so we're doing some changes to it now to line up with COVID-19 and what's coming out of that. So happy to bring that to be reviewed.
Right.
If that's what you'd like. Okay, and just on the homelessness, I don't know if the reason it was raised is that homelessness now comes under me as Director of Growth, so I'm not sure where it would then sit going forward. Which might
Right, okay, thank you for that. Nigel, you were just going to just join in there.
Yes, please. I think that's useful, and like you say, I think the COVID thing's thrown a different angle on stuff. And I know, Jill, again, it's a bit referring to you, because I'm keen that we add value to stuff as a scrutiny committee. I know it's nice to look at decisions that have been made and hold people to account, but I find it's more rewarding to actually look forward as where we can add value and improve things. And I know on our side, obviously homelessness is one issue, but I think that's another committee. I think for us, I'm just looking at the list where you've got tourism, partnerships, planning, and all that sort of stuff. And I know, Jill, you sent a thing out asking for really things in the district that we can sell, if you like. We've in our area, the three of us really. We've got the 5 Pitch Trail, we've got all the country park, the Grassmore Country Park, and they are really popular. And I'd like to look, and it has been muted. I don't know if Lee and Sue don't, but that we need some joined up working with that regarding the county council, the countryside services, national heritage and all that sort of stuff. So I'd like to do a project, and I know there might be more important things, but I think it's something that this committee could really add value to. How do we improve tourism in North East Derbyshire, and come up with some ideas? That's where I'd sort of be coming from, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, thanks, Nigel. Yeah, that does make sense. You're right with that, Jill? Does that make sense to you? Yeah. Sorry, Susie, can I just go to Sue Veerman? Because I'm struggling because I can't see her, so I don't know whether it's something she wanted to come in earlier. Sue, oh, she's gone. Susie, please come back in. Sue's gone now.
No, I mean, if homelessness is now coming under the growth agenda, and we can bring that into our discussion, along with Nick, I would absolutely love to discuss that. But following on from Nigel, I mean, during the lockdown, the 5 Pitch Trail has been an absolute jewel in our crown, and it has saved my sanity like I cannot tell you. And so I do want to discuss tourism. I'm on the growth committee I've never come off it. I've been on it for about 3 years, and we have discussed tourism before. But I think if we've got a new director and a new thought process, then I would very much be keen to talk about tourism and all the things that we can promote within our district. Okay, so I just want to add that.
Right, thanks, Susie. Yeah, and I'm with you on that. Tourism's something I'm really quite keen on myself. Sue Veerman.
Thank you, Chair. Just a couple of things to come back on what Jill has said. Homelessness, of course, is in Jill's remit now. It isn't actually in terms of the remit of the committee that way at the moment. But of course, if that's something that you want to change to mirror the new director's role, that's certainly something I'm sure I could speak with Sarah Sternberg about and get sorted, because I know she's been looking at whether we need to do any amendments around the remits of the committee, because obviously 1 or 2 things have changed. In terms of the tourism issue, that's a thing that we have looked at a couple of times on this committee quite a while ago now, so it might be useful to come back to that. And can I just mention 2 other things, Chair? The leader also, I asked senior officers and the leader of cabinet about whether they had any things they wanted to put into the committee for consideration, and the leader had suggested that anything around the local economy would be good, obviously following the pandemic. And one of the heads of service call-outs have put in place recovery after the pandemic.
Yeah, I think have you just cut yourself off, Sue, or are you finished?
Initially.
Thank you. Right, well, we've got one or two strongish ideas, but I just thought people would be keen. Sorry, Lee, can I just bring you in?
Yeah, it was just a little bit more on the tourism side, really. It's just.
I've finished, Chair. Sorry.
Thanks, Sue.
I think the other aspect is we've got the A61 corridor that's not been linked through to the Five Pitch Trail. It basically finishes at Storforth Lane, which, and with the National Cycle Route 67, which runs through right through to Killamarsh, which joins up both our areas. But we've got to also work with Chesterfield Borough and other councils on that, and probably Bolsover, to help develop a plan for the whole area, really, rather than just it just being North East Derbyshire. But it could link both sides of our of our district up, basically, and I think that'd be quite a good thing to do, which also includes the Avenue site, which is obviously still being developed, and I think that'd be a good way forward.
Yeah, thanks, Lee. Nick, yes, can I bring you in, please?
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. Just from the last year that we've just done, we did find it very difficult to make progress on growth scrutiny. Not out of lack of will. It just felt that we were trying to actually create policy. And I think what we need to do is scrutinise. So when we talk about these things that we want to do, to help me get over the line, and hopefully everyone, is that we need, when we talk about growth in any aspect, what are we going to scrutinise? What's the document? What is the process? What is the cabinet member? What is the, who are the people? We need to nail that bit first, because I felt like we drifted last year. We had we were basically coming up with opinions and policies, and that's not scrutiny. So hopefully, Susie, if you've been on obviously the committee, is there a good technique of doing that? And it just feel like we do need some kind of document or something to scrutinise, rather than just going off on a tangent of loads of opinions and ideas.
Yeah, I think that's what John was saying. Really, we haven't got much direction. We were just sort of going round and round, trying a bit of this, talking about a bit of that. But we can't carry on like that. We've got to pick up on something. And I think today, as we're coming out, well, eventually we're going to come out of this this pandemic, and things are changing. And they're going back to Lee. They're trying to encourage cycling, for example, and getting out, and I think that's the new future. And I think that's a much better subject to be looking at, because that's, you know, it's better for all of us, isn't it? Sue Veerman, please. Sue, are you there? Oh, you're there.
No, I was just going to add to that, Chair. I understand Councillor Whitehead's frustration. As you remember, I think the previous chair took the decision that she felt there were lots of areas that many of the councillors didn't know much about, because it was a new committee with new members actually on the council. So we spent quite a lot of time looking at various things, whereas usually you would be doing a piece of review work, and that would be where you do your main piece of scrutiny. And of course, the growth strategy is a key document which we didn't have in the new one. Obviously, we'd had the old one which was scrutinised the year before, but obviously that's a key document for you to be able to look at and scrutinise.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we get that. Thank you. So yeah, it wasn't a criticism of the previous chairman. It was just, we were all quite new, and we just seemed to be just sort of going around the house a little bit. Councillor Nigel Bark.
Yeah, thank you. Sue, can I just a bit of clarity on what the cabinet and or Martin said? I can understand this because he's alluded to it in his daily briefings and in other things, that the economic recovery is going to be massive going forward. I just wondered what part could we play in that as a scrutiny committee. I'm a bit. It sounds a bit of a big project, that does. I don't know. Have you any thoughts on that?
Sue Veerman. I'm saying Sue Veerman, Sue, so I don't confuse you with Susie Cornwall. Sue Veerman, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I don't have any more detail from the Chair, and I think it was probably a conversation that would need to be had if that is what you wanted to pursue. But of course, the economy covers a vast majority of different subjects, as you said, and that would be too much to take. But of course, tourism can form part of the debate around the economy, so that could be something on that theme that you might want to look at, as you've suggested. I don't know whether Jill has anything more to say on that.
Sorry, has Jill got any thoughts on that one? Would the tourism sort of link into that is my question, or do we need to have two options?
Jill, are you there, Jill?
I am here. Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to think it through. With the growth strategy, we're reviewing it, but that comes with a recovery plan about what our priorities are in order to get the economy going over the next, initially up to 18 months and then past that. So there's one piece of work there. There's a growth strategy itself, and that's a strategy document, so it doesn't go into masses of detail, although there will be a action plan with it. As part of the growth strategy, the tourism strategy does link into that, because that's an area that we can grow the economy through, and that's really the sort of the thread that goes through them all. It is incredibly complicated, and I'm only in my fourth week, so I'm still trying to work out the areas. There may be some areas that actually might be really helpful to get some ideas on, but I can't tell you exactly what they are at the moment. Okay, it's a little bit early for me.
Right, thank you, Jill. Thank you for that, Nigel.
Yeah, just on back of that, and are we pressured into actually making a decision today, given the state of where we are with the economic recovery and all that sort of stuff? It goes back to what I said. I don't mind doing and giving time up to this if I feel there's a bit like what Nick said. You can go around in circles and you talk to one another, but nothing happens. And I think we should try and at least have what is our goal? What are we trying to do? Are we trying to improve services? Improve the economy? What's our remit? And really have a focus down on and have an end product, really. And I'm not sure I'm quite clear yet in my head how we're going to do that.
I don't think we are under any pressure today, Nigel, at all. But I'm just keen, after the last year, that we sort of try to go forward a little bit. Sue Veerman. Sue? Hello, Sue.
I was going to say exactly the same thing, Chair, about it's up to the committee. You choose your review and you take your time. If you want to have a couple of subjects and you want to go back to the lead officers and ask them further information where you might be able to add some value to that, you can do that and then bring that back to the next meeting.
All right, thank you. So thank you. As we're sort of discussing this, I don't want to force any subjects, but is there some way where we can, as we go away,
around between the committee, then at your next formal committee, then decide on that. Or even you can miss that middle stage out and not have that informal meeting and just feed the comments through to me or feed them back to the chair, and then we can reach agreement by email to bring it in to be approved for the next meeting.
So what does everybody think to that? I'm just trying to get it moving, that's all. Nick?
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. I think you're right, Anthony. We don't need to decide today for sure, like Nigel was saying, but we're obviously in the danger of just floating. So I think we need to. Normally, you'd have a proposer and a second, and we'd do a vote. We don't need to do that today, I don't think. But it does sound like going forward, the key thing for our area, and probably every area in the country, will be this recovery and growth. So we spoke about tourism. There's a lot of businesses though that are not affected by tourism, you know. So I would suggest that we have the two elements to this: tourism and non-tourism businesses, and we basically put a stake in the ground and say we're going to look at reviewing and scrutinising the business side of what the council can do and is doing and is proposing to do, and we carve that up into tourism and non-tourism businesses. That's just putting it out there to try and move things forward.
Right, that's a thought. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, I like that, Nick. That sounds like a plan-ish.
Right, that's good. That's it's getting a bit of a feel now. Bit of a feel. Everybody seems to be on the same page, as it were. Okay. Any more thoughts?
Sorry, just before, while we've got Jill online with us, because I know you're new to the job, Jill, and everything, but is there anything you think that really we could get us? I'm happy with what Nick's just said. You know, tourism and non-tourism and recovery. And I think they are different, and I think we need to do different things for both. But I just wondered, while you're on, just to float there's any other ideas you've got?
I haven't at the moment. The growth strategy is such a wide and all-encompassing thing. I think taking tourism as one chunk is the right thing to do. I think as you review the growth strategy, when it sort of comes out, it might be that you want to then focus on a part of the action that then comes out of the growth strategy to add some value in. So I would kind of leave that open, because you might then look at it and go and decide yourselves that actually we'd like to have a look at this part of it.
Right, thank you. Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. Right. Thank you, everybody, on that. I think there's some direction there. Go on to item 6 then. Draft work programme. Sue, can I bring you, Sue Veerman, can I sort of bring you in on this as regards the draft work programme?
Yes, Sue? Chair, thank you.
Yeah. Where do we go?
Chair.
Where do we go?
You're seeing the draft that I sent out with the agenda pack, and that's only a start for 10, and there's nothing in there that you can, you know, you can leave it out if you don't want it in there, but it was just that, you know, putting something down what you've been looking back at in the past, or you said you might like to look at. So really, it's just a discussion around the sort of things you would like to see on the draft work programme. And of course, you know, as you've already mentioned, the growth strategy is going to be, you know, a large part of that. And just coming back to the point that I think Jill just made, you know, there's nothing to stop you doing a review on something and then doing a quick little piece of work around something that comes out of what you see in the growth strategy. So, you know, it's not either one or the other. We could probably do both pieces of work, provided they're not, you know, the first one isn't a huge in-depth review. But of course, it could also form just a one-off item as well on the work programme. I'll just mention, for completeness, some outstanding work you had, and you may decide that you don't wish to pursue this any further, but just to close the loop. If you remember, you did quite a lot of work around the previous scrutiny review on business units in industrial business centres, industrial units, and we've got to the stage where the previous review report had went to cabinet, but at that time a number of questions came in from members of the committee, and you felt that you really needed more time to have looked at that. So cabinet deferred that and referred it back to scrutiny for you to consider whether you did any work around that. So, and if you remember, we're going to have a number of officers in from, you know, the director, the business centre manager, all in the room together, the finance manager, just to talk over the issues you'd had. So I'm mentioning that just in case you wish to keep that on the work programme, or whether you think, given the circumstances, that needs to just be put to bed and forgotten about. So that's one question, Chair.
Well, sorry, Sue,
you did ask for some performance indicators. Yes, Chair, sorry.
Sorry, so just to butt in on that. It's, how does everybody feel? Can I just ask you that? How does everybody feel about that previous review, the sort of the year before last? Has anybody got any sort of strong feelings on it that we need to be going back to it, or is it something we sort of give up on? Any feelings, anybody at all? Susie.
Is it possible to give us a summary of the things that we were having to review? Because I was very involved in that, and I've just sort of pushed it to one side because I assumed it had been dealt with. So I don't know what the magnitude of the issues were. I mean, I don't like doing a piece of work and it being ignored.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I understand. So my thinking is, and it's not to make the work not viable, not important enough, but it's sort of in the past. Sue Veerman, how are we with that?
What were the issues, Sue?
Well, Chair, if it it'd be very hard to summarise them now because there was quite an extensive backwards and forth of questions as well as the original report. If it helps the committee, I can send out those questions which I compiled into a summary so you can see the answers that you got and whether they satisfied what you were looking for, because that was at the end of the year and obviously it didn't get taken forward. And also a copy of the original report and its recommendations, and then perhaps you can have a look at that outside of this meeting individually, and then come back through the chair as to whether you think we need to go on with that. I haven't got the report to hand without logging into another system, but it was quite involved, some of the questions you asked.
Councillor Barker.
Would you be happy with that, Chair?
Yeah,
I'm with that.
I was going to say, I think it's been done to death a little bit, and I know it's not a perfect thing. The business centres and the business units, and possibly could be managed better or whatever, and rates chased up. But it has been a constant thing for a long time. When we were in control, we were constantly looking at that, and I think I'd go along what you say. So let's go back and have a look what was done. And I can understand why it were done again after the election, but I don't know again how much value we're going to add by keep going over that.
Thanks, Nigel. Councillor Fennell. John.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony and Susie. Yeah, we did look at that report and we put it to one side because we thought things had moved on a little bit. But within the report, there were some sensible recommendations. And I think as a committee, we should just go through that again and see what we think is appropriate to take it forward to close it off. I don't think it's right that somebody should spend a year or whatever how long it took looking at that for it just to be sidelined. I think there's some interesting things in there. I think if we look at it and endorse it or amend it, and then we can put it to bed after that.
I'm happy with that.
Okay, thank you, John. Yeah, I'm with you totally. I'm not trying to dismiss the thing. What I'm trying to do is move forward with it, really, rather than just hanging around. Okay, Sue, can I bring you back in there? We were discussing draft work programme, weren't we? Sue, are you there? Sue? Lost you again. Oh, you're back.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, my mic just switched itself off there. I don't know why. Yes, I'll send those documents out to you so you can have another look. You'll also remember that you did ask for some performance indicators to be considered, other than the ones that you were seeing in the performance reports in relation to that report, and those have been produced. So I'll send that report out as well to you. In terms of the rest of the work programme, just one moment. The only other item that currently is on the draft one is the partnership activities and support of growth. Now that stays on or goes off, whichever the committee prefers, Chair, but that is where the partnership team come and explain all the things that they do in support of growth. And then, strangely enough, on the April meeting, the previous scrutiny review of tourism growth, which was done a couple of years ago and has been monitored for a while, that was due to come back in into the committee for you to look at what progress has been made. Obviously, if that's something you decide to pursue, we could bring that forward in the year.
Okay.
But other than that, Chair, the work programme is blank because, you know, we're anticipating that you'd have a number of things that you felt were more pressing at the moment.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Sue. Right. In that case, we move on to item number 7, list of key decisions. Well, I don't think there are a list of key decisions, are there? Sue Veerman. Sue, you there?
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. So, yes, it's been retitled for planet. Yeah, can you hear me?
You can, you just broke up a little bit. Yeah, just can you say that again?
Can you hear me, Chair?
Yes, can hear you. Yeah. Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
No.
It's been
Yes.
renamed. Yeah, it's been renamed, Chair. It's now the 4 Plan of Executive Decisions. So as you know, Chair, this is brought every meeting just so the committee can be aware of the key decisions that are going through the authority, and if there's anything on there that's within your committee's remit that you actually want to ask for further information on.
Right, your mic's gone off again, Sue. Right. A bit backwards and forwards. You're on, off. You're on again.
Sorry, Chair.
Try cheat by twice.
Chair, I think Sue Veerman's having a few technical issues.
I think she is. Yeah, I think she has. Whether she's got any more to add to that item, I don't know. You there, Sue? I saw your light up. No, gone. Right. Okay. Well, we really, I need you to move on, really, Sue, with this, because next item would be item 8, additional urgent items. I have no additional urgent items for today's meeting. Nigel.
Sorry, I was just on about the executive decisions thing. I've just looked at that, and I'm not quite sure. There's medium-term financial plans and stuff like that, land sales. I'm not quite sure if they in our remit or not. That's all our. You know what I mean? We've got 4 committees. The audit committees probably look at the medium-term financial plan and that sort of stuff. And it's trying to make what is this committee looking at? I suppose land sales, we could look at that, but I'm not that bothered, to be honest. I think we've other priorities.
Yeah, it's not on, it's always, I must admit, it's not on my list either, really. Councillor Welton, welcome.
Yeah, just on what Nigel Barker was saying, there's one aspect in land sales that would come with our remit, and it's the extent you would look at doing land purchases using the opportunity to perhaps buy land during a period of time where there may well be distressed sellers with lower prices. It has been discussed informally, but that would be one topic.
Right, thanks, Richard. Thank you for that. Are you back, Sue? I'm just trying you out. Are you there?
Can you hear me, Chair?
Yes, I can hear you, Sue. Welcome back.
Excellent, thank you, Chair. My mic was just switching itself off without me pressing any buttons. Yes, well, this document really is about just alerting the committee of things that are going off. So you don't necessarily have to do anything with it. It's just so that you can look at it and see whether there's things that are in your remit that is of interest. In terms of the land sales question, that's a standing item on the list. And if there are land sales going on, then usually there's more detail that's put in there to alert the committee to something that might fall within their remit.
Right.
I only know that, Chair, because the committee's asked the question before. What is that land sales about?
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Sue. Thank you. Right. Yeah. Additional. Right. Item number 8. Additional urgent items. I have no additional urgent items for today's meeting. Are there any, Sue? Anything urgent?
I have none, Chair.
No. Right. We're moving on. It's a lot quicker when we're doing it virtually, doesn't it? Because sometimes we can have a couple of hours at this. We're already an hour in. Date of next meeting.
Chair, can I come in there?
Yes, please, Sue. Thank you.
Yes, just to inform the committee, Chair, the next meeting was due to be held on the 6th of July, but circumstances beyond our control, we're not holding that meeting, and I know Nicola can say something further on that if you wish. But can I just say that if you do need to hold that extra meeting that is being cancelled.
Yes, we were so close there, so close with that information, and it's just gone. But I think what you were trying to say is that
The cards have just arrived, she says.
The what's just arrived?
Cards have just arrived, she says. Will tappers and shunters joke.
Right, yeah, I got it. I'm old enough to remember that. So yes, I think everybody got the gist of what you were trying to say there, Sue. Right, I think we're at the end of our meeting. Unless anybody else has got anything else to add.
What did she actually say there? I mean, are we having a meeting? We're not having a meeting on the 6th, so when are we having one?
We're not having a meeting on the 6th. Oh, Nicola, can I just bring you in? Sorry, John, I'll bring you in a second. But
okay.
Yeah, just to confirm what Sue was saying is that the next meeting of the committee that's scheduled in the meeting schedule for, I believe it was the 6th of July, unfortunately can't go ahead. If members wish to have another meeting prior to the meeting after that, we can try to organise one. If not, it would take place in September, I believe. No, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong schedule here.
August?
The next meeting would take place on the 7th of September.
Oh, 7th September, right.
Oh, that's no good, is it?
It's a long. No.
That's absolutely ridiculous. We can't wait till September for our next meeting. Can I just say, really appreciate these meetings being moved to a Monday. I can't tell you how beneficial that is for me, but I really don't can wait till September.
Fair comment. Right. Well, we'll come up with something then. Nicola.
So, Chair, you are able to hold your meeting on the day that you wish to. Unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to hold it at the time that you have. The reason for that being is that we're using the live streaming software, and we have another meeting that's live streaming at the same time. So we won't be able to do 2 at the same time. So if you wish to change the time of your meeting on that day, that's possible. Or of course, the legislation, the new Coronavirus Act legislation, allows us to cancel and organise meetings as seen fit by the authority. So you're able to slot in another meeting at a date convenient to yourselves.
Right, okay, well, we'll come back to that in a moment. Thank you, Nikki. John, sorry, can I just bring you in? I don't want to leave you out. What were you going to say?
I hadn't picked up on the meeting date. Certainly, we don't want to wait till September. But I'm happy to schedule a different time on the Monday, on the 6th of July. Just for confirmation, have we agreed that Jill will come to the next meeting and present a growth strategy for us, number one? And following that, endorsing what Nick said earlier, we should really identify a serious scrutiny topic based on what the growth strategy is. And then we'll have something to look at in a bit more detail going forward. So can you just confirm that Jill will be doing that?
Right, Jill, I know you're still there. Jill, would you, well we're going to discuss coming up with a time, probably which will be the 6th of July, but at a different time during the day. Would you be willing to come in with us, Jill?
Yes. No, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, happy to. I can't say it will be a completed growth strategy because it's a work in progress now. I'm here, but I can give you where we are now for your views and ideas. If that's all right.
Are you all right with that, John?
Yes, fine.
Right, Sue. Thank you, Jill. Sue, I've just seen you've come up with I can see you now, which is even better. Yeah, we all agree that September is a long way away. Personally, any time of the day is fine by me for a meeting. I don't know how everybody else feels. Could we perhaps rearrange something for the 6th of July, but maybe earlier?
Suits me.
Yeah, earlier, Anthony, earlier because it means that the days I can go and do other things.
That's certainly not a problem for me, Chair, if that's what.
Yes, everybody seems to be quite keen on that. That's great. Nikki, you want to say something?
Yes, of course. It was just to advise you, of course, that Damon Stanton, who's the clerk for the meeting, would be more than happy to contact all members and find a convenient time and agree it outside the meeting.
That's super. Thank you for that. Thank you, Damon. Lee, can you jump?
Yeah, can we not just agree? Can we not just agree a time now while we're all here? 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock's fine. Cool. Is that all right with you, Damon?
10 o'clock's fine.
If we can accommodate 10 o'clock, then of course we'll hold the meeting. It's more than just the members here. We have to make sure that we can actually facilitate that for you. So we will investigate 10 o'clock and confirm to you that that's going to be working for you.
Thank you. That's great. Thanks, Nikki. Right. No more questions, no more comments from anybody. Right. In that case, I thank you very much for today's attendance. It's a bit weird doing it like this. It's not like face-to-face, is it? Thanks for everybody's contribution. I'd like to declare today's meeting closed, and I'll see you hopefully at 10 o'clock on the 6th of July.
All right. Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you.